Welcome to 5678, a movie musical podcast, where two best friends, separated by geography but united in their love for musical theater, review and recap movie musicals. Each episode we will dissect a new movie musical, ranging from the 1930s all the way up to today, all the while giggling, snorting, and generally being absolute dunces. So powder those noses and tape down those boobs. We're about to start rolling.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Maria.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
Alright, tell that story really quickly.
Okay, so the reason why we couldn't record when we planned was because I started watching the movie and then I had to go and do a thing, and so I was going to watch it the next day in the afternoon, but we got to our new Airbnb and we found a game based on the Oxford English Dictionary,
Which is so
in
up
which
your
you have
parents'
to...
alley.
Oh man, so you have to spell things and say the meaning of things, and it's a legitimate board game with like tiles and like little pieces. And we drank about 3 bottles of wine and played this game for like 3 hours. So
God.
I didn't watch the movie last night. I watched the rest of it this morning, which is why I needed a lot of time.
That's fine. I also needed a lot of time because this is a talky movie. All right, welcome to 5678, and welcome to Some Like It Hot. Oh boy.
Oh man. Ugh, what a wild and crazy
What?
movie. So first off, I am Grace, because I don't think we introduced ourselves in our first episode.
I am Anna. I had never seen this movie before.
I had seen this movie once in
yeah.
high school. Yeah, I had a film studies class at 9 in the morning in high school, and it was amazing.
This would be where you
It
would
was the
watch
best
that
class.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, so we watched this movie, and I remember really enjoying it, but not much else about it. And then it popped up on a list of best movies and musicals. And I would argue, is this a musical?
I don't know whether to save that for the beginning or the end of this podcast. Once we've
Well,
gone
let's go through it and then we'll talk about it at the end.
Because I wrote something about that. All
Yeah.
right. Oh boy, we're in black and white.
Oh man, and okay, so I will say that the overture music is so fun over these title cards. I was having a great time listening to this music. Like,
It's
gotta
another-
love, like, really fast jazz.
It's another full overture like we had in My Fair Lady, like at least 2 minutes, not a quick one.
Oh yeah. No, it was very long. But yes, we are in black and white, and we open on a very fancy car with, like, little turret things on the top of it,
Driving at night.
driving around. Surprise, it's a very fancy hearse, because there's a coffin in the back with a bunch of goons.
I have the word goon in my notes so many times.
Oh my god, that's the only thing I referred to them as.
I had that and cronies. Inside this car
I think I had minions once.
is a coffin and 4 men.
I wish that I could have been in that casting call for
Oh, man.
those goons. Just the amount of men with just, like, blunt noses and, like, large jaws.
And have never smiled in their entire life.
No.
There's a police car following this hearse, and it turns its siren on. The hearse speeds up to get away. The police fire, and what happens?
So there's a clown car of police, though. Like, there's, like, 8 police officers in this tiny-ass car. They're, like, hanging off the side. It's
They're
wild.
riding on the side of the car.
Which I very much wish I could do. That looks like so much fun.
And what do the men inside the hearse do? They pull a lever and, surprise, secret sealing guns.
And then the goons shoot back. Bang, bang, shooty, shooty.
Shoot. God bless the stunt drivers. Like, it is 2 minutes into this
Oh,
film,
yeah.
and we are in a full-on, old-timey car chase. We see inside the car, and the coffin is leaking?
The police, like, get into an accident and they hop out and continue shooting after them, but the car keeps driving until they get to a place, and the coffin is weirdly leaking out of the bullet holes. And then they open it up. Surprise, it is filled with liquor. Surprise, this is Prohibition time.
We get a title card of Chicago, 1929.
Dun dun dun. The goons drive up to Mozzarella's funeral parlor.
parlor. Mamma mia.
Such a good name. So they take the boozy coffin inside.
And they lock the gates behind them. The police arrive and sneak around back. It's a stakeout.
Because, surprise, there is a speakeasy. Now, there is a snitch. Snitch Charlie gives the head of the police person the password to get into the speakeasy.
Yes.
Yes.
Chief. It's the chief and Charlie.
Yes.
And Charlie tells him Mozzarella's booze parlor is run by Spats Columbo. And the password to get in is, I've come for Grandma's funeral.
And if you want, like, a nice seat, you say you're one of the pallbearers.
I love old-timey movie speech patterns.
Oh, man.
Especially of police. The chief is like, give me 5 minutes and then hit him with everything you got.
Yeah. It's just like, what are we doing? You gotta get out of here. Here we go. All right.
Whose blood is that? The chief goes inside and gets taken into the church, quote-unquote, and surprise, it's a speakeasy.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people drinking, fun 1929 music, showgirls dancing. A waiter comes over, and the chief so smoothly orders booze.
Oh, man.
So slick. And the waiter's like, sorry, we only serve coffee. And the chief's like, oh, fine, coffee. And the waiter goes, Scotch coffee? Canadian coffee?
Whiskey coffee?
My favorite.
So good. So he orders coffee with soda. So he gets, like, whiskey and soda, basically.
And he also asks the waiter if he's like, hey, I'm really close to the band. Can I move to that pew over there? But the waiter says, sorry, it's reserved for members of the immediate family.
The amount of just, like, code talk was so fun.
We see some fancy men walk in some very well-fitting suits, and they sit in the family section.
Indeed, one of them has spats on. I wonder who that could be.
For our dear listeners, I looked it up. Spats are the splatter guard foot accessory for men's shoes. Mm-hmm. It covers the instep and the ankle.
It's like a jacket for your shoes, yes.
Yeah.
I watched the movie this morning.
2 hours ago.
Yeah. So then the shot pans over to the musicians, and specifically 2 musicians in the band, the saxophone player and the bass player. And they have a bit of a conversation while this is happening. So apparently this is their first job in 4 months. They are super in debt.
Super poor.
Oh,
These
yeah.
are Joe and Jerry. These are our musical leads.
Yes. So Joe plays the saxophone and Jerry plays the bass.
And they're really hoping this job lasts a long time because they seem to owe everyone in town money.
Yes, and Joe wants to place a bet with all of their first paycheck onto a dog race, and the dog's name is Greased Lightning!
Greased Lightning! Dog's predicted to win like 10-1.
Yeah.
Joe wants to bet their pathetic wages on it because he's like, oh, we'll make a lot of money. Jerry's like, that's a terrible idea.
Horrible idea.
While they're talking, they spy the police chief fixing his cigar with his police badge, which is not a sneaky thing to be
what
doing.
A super undercover person is he. So smart.
So bad. And they realize, oh, shit's about to go down. There's going to be some kind of raid. They're like, nope, not standing around for that. And they pack up their instruments.
I will say this was a very funny moment of them immediately spotting the police band, looking at each other, and then just like, boop, 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 guess we gotta pack up. Like, it was just like very, like serious.
And surprise, the police are here.
The raid happens, and somehow they don't get caught. They like slip out in the chaos.
They sneak out in the pandemonium. There is some excellent ensemble acting of pure panic.
So great. Then the undercover police chief confronts the gangster, Spats, but Spats says he's just a customer, he doesn't own the place, and he's also drinking milk at the time, so...
They're all drinking milk.
Which is so silly.
They're all drinking milk. The chief goes to take a sip, which is such a weird power move.
Yeah.
And one of the goons from the table goes, buttermilk. To clarify, like, oh no, we're not just drinking regular milk. We're all drinking buttermilk.
Well, I wonder if it's like a White Russian sort of thing, which is like whiskey in milk, isn't it? Or I don't know.
Yes.
So maybe it's like that, and that's what they're trying to pass off is like, oh no, it's just milk. Maybe that's why he said buttermilk.
I don't know.
Who's to say?
But the chief rounds them up. Outside, we see the police all putting the customers into the paddy wagon.
Get the paddy wagon.
Get the paddy wagon. and as another crowd of panicky customers runs out the back door, we pan up to see Joe and Jerry on the fire escape watching this all go down.
Yes.
Once the coast is clear, they climb down, they go around the corner, but now they don't have a job, they're not getting paid.
And Joe wants to bet their overcoats, and Jerry's like, it is winter in Chicago, you loon! We need our coats!
You loon! Cut to next day, it's freezing because it's winter in Chicago. They don't have their coats.
Because
and
Grease
the dog
Lightning lost.
Lost! Because Grease Lightning lost.
It's okay, when we get to Grease, Grease Lightning will have its day again. They go to a musician's agency to see if there are any jobs, and the answer is consistently no. And then
not a brass farthing.
And then Joe wants to bet the instruments, and Jerry has the best line. It's like, we're up the creek and you want to hawk the paddle. And I'm like, that's a phenomenal, like...
Thank you for writing that down. I remember that.
It's so silly.
Joe's like, but we have another dog, Galloping Ghost. Like, I have nothing but to wager our instruments. They check one last office, which is Polyakov, I think is how they said it. And we learned that Joe had stood up the secretary of this office on a date on Saturday night.
Yes, I think her name is Nellie.
Nellie. And so kind of to get back at him, she lies and says, oh yeah, the booking agent has a job for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 weeks in Florida.
All expenses paid.
Yeah, and they're like, great. She's like, but you can't go in just yet because he's talking to someone else. Inside the office,
we meet Sue and Beansprout?
Beanstalk.
Stock.
So there's 3 people in the office. It's Polyakov, who's a booking agent,
mm-hmm.
and then there's a woman and a man,
mm-hmm.
a lady. We don't know her name yet, but we'll just say, I just burped.
Oops.
Sweet Sue
mm-hmm.
and Beanstalk. Beanstalk is the band manager.
Yeah.
Sweet Sue is a conductor, and Polyakov is on the phone trying to get, like, any girls for this Miami gig, but
mm-hmm.
none are picking up the phone, and surprise, he's not looking for girl dancers, he's looking for girl musicians.
Because it's an entire girl band, which is actually kind of fun. I like that. They can't find anyone, though, because, like, it's super last minute. They're leaving the next day.
So the lady and the band manager leave. They say, I don't care how you do it, just get 2 girls on the train tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yes. Joe and Jerry burst in after they leave and say they want the job, and the agent's like, no, you don't quite fit the part. And there's he doesn't just come out and say it's a girls only band. Like, he just taps around it for a while.
Yeah, he tries to dissuade them before being like, you can't do it because you don't have the right equipment.
And Jerry's like, we can pretend. That is fine.
Yeah. Jerry tries to sell Joe on the idea. He says they could be Josephine and Geraldine. Joe refuses. And Joe's really mad at Nellie, the secretary, for pulling this prank on them.
Yes. They ask Polyakov if there's anything, and there's like, yeah, there's a one-night thing. You'll get $6, but it's like 100 miles away, and so they need a car.
You need a car to get there, because it's at the University of Illinois' Valentine's Day dance.
Oh, good.
And they're willing to do it, because they need money. They don't have a car, so Joe goes back out and woos Nellie to use her car, and she almost stabs him with a letter opener.
Yep, but
then
he
agrees.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but like apparently, like he must be a hell of a date.
Pelvic sorcery.
Pelvic sorcery.
So she agrees to let them use the car.
So they go to a garage where her car is, and they interrupt, like, card game with a bunch of gangsters, including the snitch, Charlie.
I didn't realize that at first, though.
Oh, yeah. Because he had the toothpick, you see?
The toothpick. I wasn't paying attention to the toothpick.
That's valid.
So the gangsters are like, hey, what are you doing? And Joe and Jerry prove that they're musicians. They're just here to get a car.
So they go and fill it up with gas.
Yeah.
But then the police arrive. Wait, not police. Gangsters arrive.
Surprise. More gangsters arrive.
More gangsters. Jerry and Joe, like, crouch down behind the car to hide.
Yeah, these gangsters aren't here for fun. They're here for murder.
They're here for murder, and we see the spats coming towards them. They're there to kill Snitch Charlie because he snitched on them, because snitches get stitches.
Charlie had tipped off the police chief earlier about where Spats would be. Spats says he's here to pay his respects. He was nice enough to recommend his mortuary to some of his friends, but now he has all these coffins on his hands and hates to see them go to waste.
Honestly, the amount of chatting just is so silly.
They murder everyone, is what happens. Spats' gangsters murder everyone.
Yeah, big ol' shooty bang bang. So J&G, they are found because the gas that was left just sort of pouring into the car, like it overfills and it falls out, and so the gangsters turn around and they see them. And they try to talk their way out of it.
Yeah, Spats says, like, he doesn't like witnesses. But while Spats and Co.'s backs are turned, Toothpick Charlie is still alive, and he reaches for a telephone, and he knocks it off, and Spats and Co. turn back to him and murder him dead.
Bang, bang, bang.
Joe and Jerry escape. In the distance, sirens!
Wee-oo.
Spats and Co. escape and say they'll take care of those boys later.
Yes. Now they have to get out of town because Spats is definitely going to kill them. So what's the best way to get out of town? Ta-da! So Joe calls the agent and pretends to be a lady. His lady voice is phenomenal, by the way.
Oh.
I loved it. Every second. It was so good. So then the next shot is of them trying to walk in heels.
They look great, but they can't walk, and they're like, how do women do this? They're in the train station, and they see a line of female musicians getting on the train, and they worry they'll, like, never get away with this. And as they turn back, they see.
Wah, 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 wah. Oh my god.
On screen, just jazz trombones.
Jazz trombones. It's so funny because it happens like 4 times. It's like every time she walks into a room, it's just like wah, 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 da, da, da. It's like,
it sounds
okay.
like the beginning of all that jazz. It's just like,
yeah, it does.
Wah, wah. It's Marilyn.
Marilyn.
She looks great.
Oh man. So they describe her, they're like, look how
feathers.
she moves. It's like jello on springs.
And they follow her. And they get onto the train, and they meet, or right before they get onto the train, they meet who we met earlier, Sweet Sue and Mr. Beanstalk. They get onto the train. Joe, spur of the minute, changes his... Jerry decides he no longer wants to be Geraldine. In the moment, he goes by Daphne. Joe is Josephine.
Yes, and they claim that they went to the conservatory in Schenectady?
It's a made-up university, isn't it?
I don't know.
It didn't sound like Schenectady. I can't even say it. I did not write it down. I'm sorry. Sue's like, where'd you girls study? And they clearly didn't think this plot through, and I think they made up a university name. They get to their seats. Jerry/Daphne is kind of like eyeballing, but like getting friendly as like a girlfriend would. Yes, and one of the girls is like, welcome to no man's land. And Josephine kind of roughhouses Daphne and accidentally tears her quote-unquote chests off. Like she tears her brassiere. So they go to the ladies' room to fix it and discover...
Womp, 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 womp. It's Marilyn again.
With a booze garter. She has a flask under her garter, and she's drinking alone in the bathroom.
Yes, and surprise, surprise, her character's name is Sugarcane. Awful. I hated it. It was so bad.
Well, that's her stage name. Her last name is like Sugar...
Kowalski or something.
But it's like Kowalski.
Something like that. So she says if she's caught drinking again, they'll kick her out, that she's the girl who always gets caught and makes bad decisions. We get a lot of her backstory here. She comes from a musical family. She sings and she plays the ukulele, and she says that she's running away.
Mm-hmm. She's only in the band because she's running away. And she says, I don't want you to think I'm a drinker. I can stop at any time I want to, only I don't want to.
I get you, girl. So yeah, so they're flirting, kind of, or trying to stay around her, but she leaves.
Women to another woman.
Yeah, it's wild. But she leaves, and Jerry is very into her, and Joe is like, keep things in perspective, no sugar, none of that. So now they're at rehearsal.
Yeah, they're rehearsing on the train, and Sweet Sue, the conductor, tells Joe and Jerry, they're like, where's the last place you played? You need to put a little heat under your music. And so they just jazz it up a little bit.
They zhuzh it up, and it actually sounds really good. I really liked their song. It was really fun. And we have our first song.
It's called Running Wild, and it's sung by Sugar Cane. She sings and she plays ukulele. In a brass band, don't ask me. I don't understand how that works, but she sings.
Unclear. She sings, and honestly, it's just like a lot of shimmying and aggressive knee walking and winking, and her voice isn't bad. It's a little bit breathy, but I think that was sort of the style of the time.
That's her style. That's how she sings. But she shimmies too much, and her flask falls out of her garter. She shimmies
so hard, her flask falls out. I hate it when that happens.
And Sweet Sue sees and starts to yell at her, but Daphne says, "Oh no, that's mine." So he saves Sugar.
Yes. Sue says no liquor and no men during rehearsal, and they're like, of course not. Men only want one thing.
I wouldn't be caught dead with a man.
No. Jerry sort of eye flirts with Marilyn, because Marilyn's really happy that he took the
fall for her.
The fall for her, yes.
Later, it's nighttime on the train, and all the girl band members have changed into their pajamas, and they're walking around, and Jerry Daphne is just kind of ogling all the women.
She's not playing it cool at all.
Not subtle.
No. Just like, hi girls, have a good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bug bite.
Bye, honey. Sweet Sue, at the end of the train car, turns to Beanstalk. She's like, there's something funny about Josephine and Daphne, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Joe keeps reminding Jerry, it's like, just, you're a girl, like, you have to remember you're a girl. It doesn't really help, so Joe ends up removing the ladder from Jerry's bunk so that he won't leave in the middle of the night.
It's double-decker bunks, so
yes.
Jerry's on the top and Joe is on the bottom.
Yes.
Later, Sugar sneaks out of her bunk, again, jazz trombones, and she sneaks into Daphne's bunk to thank her for covering up for her in front of Sue.
And then this is a selection of lines that I don't know if you caught, but it was like, if there's ever anything I can do, and it's like, I can think of a million of them. And then, like, she hears Sue getting up, someone coming, and so she hops into Jerry's bunk, and Jerry's like, that's one of them. Like, okay.
I wrote down that exact exchange.
It was so funny.
And so Jerry Daphne is secretly freaking out and gets very, like, warm. And Sugar says, oh, you must be sick. But to get her to stay, Daphne says, like, oh, we should have some whiskey because that will get rid of any cold.
That will make me feel better.
Yeah, is on the top bunk and leans over into the bottom bunk to steal Joe's whiskey bottle, but falls out of the bunk.
Yes, because Marilyn can't hold him.
It's not sneaky at all. One of the other band girls pops out her head to see.
Wait, hold on. No. There's a section that I want to go through because it was the one moment where I was just like, oh, this is a genuine yikes moment for me. Marilyn is like, oh, you're already down there. Go get cups. And so they go and get like the little tiny cups. And Marilyn is like, oh, turn on the light. I don't want to spill. And Jerry's like, no, I don't want people to know that we're having a surprise party. And she's like, what's the surprise? And he's like, drink first and then I'll tell you. And I'm like, whoa. All right, y'all.
I wrote that down.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
But they're not being sneaky at all because, surprise, another girl like woke up and heard them, and it's Dolores, and she's like, I want to join. Daphne...
She's like, I have vermouth! And Daphne's like, no, get the fuck out. And Marilyn's like, but we can make Manhattans.
Yeah. Suddenly, everyone's awake. It's a party in Daphne's bed.
And then, like, they're in bed with so much food. There's, like, cheese, crackers, peanut butter, salami. Like, it's wild.
One of them goes to get what they say is a cocktail shaker. It's just a rubber hot water bottle.
It was so funny. I loved that. So one girl ends up waking up Joe to see if he has any maraschino
cherries.
So Joe's like, everyone needs to go back to their beds, and Sugar leaves to get some ice, and she brings back this giant fucking block of ice. Like, it is just
they
like...
They didn't have an ice machine. They just had, like, blocks of ice.
No, I get that, but it was just like this huge block of ice. It was like, Josephine, come help me. So Josephine is supposed to keep watch while Marilyn is stabbing it with like a
pointy thing. I wasn't clear what it was.
She's stabbing it, and
it's a makeshift ice pick.
So then we get a little bit more about her backstory. So apparently she used to play with only male bands, but ran away from that, and she has a thing for saxophone players. And suddenly Joe is very interested in her backstory.
I wrote down one of her lines about male saxophone players. She goes, I don't know what it is, but they just curdle me. Which
I read that down too.
She calls herself dumb a couple times in this movie. She says she's dumb, otherwise she wouldn't be on this train. Like she's saying like her bad decisions come from like the fact that she's dumb.
Right, exactly.
Joe doesn't necessarily say like, oh no, you're not dumb. Just kind of moves on with the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So basically she describes exactly what Joe does with all of his dates back in Chicago, where it's like flirt, sleep with them, borrow money, bet it on the horses.
Never talk to them again, never call them again.
Never talk to them again. But she says she's turning 25, so she wants to go down to Florida to find a rich husband.
Girl, same.
Yeah. He doesn't need much, just a yacht, a railroad car, and his own toothpaste.
You know, the three things. Back in the berth, Jerry Daphne gets the hiccups, and the girls put ice down her neck, but one of them drops it. I just figured this out. Jerry Daphne starts to freak out, and The girls think it's because she's ticklish, but in actuality, he doesn't want them to discover the like secret boobs he's wearing.
Yes.
So in
It's a
this
ruse.
panic, he pulls the emergency brake on the train.
And girls tumble out of the bunk, like 13 of them. Now, and then, of course, this wakes up Sue and
Beanstalk.
That's the one. Beanstalk. And somehow, this is like a moment of like musical or like movie convention. How on
Logic.
earth did they not hear that party? I don't understand.
That can be our MT logic portion of this podcast
Yeah.
of like, that makes no sense.
No sense was made that day.
But we get to Florida. Surprise, we're in
Yeah.
Miami. And there's
Huzzah!
a song, question mark?
There's another song, and this is something that's interesting that I've noticed in a lot of songs that are like based in like the 30s-ish, where the harmony, it's like a lot of girls singing at once, but it's not really singing, it's more just like shouting on pitch.
It sounds like a summer camp song. You know, it sounds like...
I get that, yeah.
I don't know, I'm thinking of like Madeline, like all the girls walking in rows and like singing. It's kind of like that. They like pull up to the hotel and they're unloading the bus, and it's kind of like a walking song. And there's a whole line of old white men in rocking chairs, rocking in unison, who like look up to see all the girls getting off the bus.
Jerry tries to carry Sugar's ukulele to sort of get close to her, but Joe is like, oh, isn't she a doll? And just also gives him his saxophone. So suddenly Jerry's carrying 3 instruments.
And one millionaire, so all these old men are assumed to be just millionaires. One in particular gets big ol' heart eyes for Jerry Daphne and introduces himself as Osgood Fielding III. He says he's been married 7 or 8 times, doesn't remember, and then he has a yacht. He follows her, she gives him all the instruments to carry, and he gets into the elevator with her. We don't see it. We assume that he tries to kiss her or pinch her, and we hear her slap him, and she storms off, and he still has just big ol' hard eyes.
Zowie, as he says 8,000 times.
Zowie. He kind of looks like Joel Grey. I know it's not
Oh
Joel
my god,
Grey.
I said the exact same thing. I, in fact, almost called him Joel Grey, but I've been calling everyone by, like, their initials, and I'm like, I can't have a JG when they're Joe, like, when it's Joe and Jerry, so...
When I went back through my notes to organize them, I just started doing, as I'm sure you've heard, like, Joe Josephine and Jerry Daphne, just to keep track, because there's so many different personas in this movie.
So now the rooms are assigned. So Marilyn, or Sugar, and
Dolores
is assigned the room across from the guys. So Joe goes into the room, and the bellhop is very aggressive.
It is a tiny teenage bellhop.
So small.
He's helping her with her luggage, and he comes in and he flirts with her, and she kicks him out, but he says, "That's how I like 'em, big and sassy."
It was so funny.
You know Mad Magazine? He looks like the kid on the cover of Mad Magazine.
Yes, absolutely. Jerry comes back in and they have an argument. Jerry wants to leave now that they're in Florida, but Joe says, no, this band is the perfect cover.
But Jerry Daphne is like, I hate how I'm being treated as a girl. Yeah, welcome to the fucking club, Jerry.
Yeah,
Jerry accuses Joe of, like, only wanting to stay to try and get with Sugar.
Now, Sugar comes in
First, Beanstalk comes in. It's like, have you seen my glasses? I'm also missing my suitcase. And before he came in, we see Joe come in with a bunch of luggage, one of which he puts under the bed, like hiding it. So Beanstalk leaves, Sugar comes in.
And invites them to the pool.
To the ocean.
The ocean, sorry. Jerry says, yes, that's great. And Joe is like, no, I'm going to stay here and take a bath. So, surprise, Joe has stolen the suitcase.
Yes. He locks the door, he opens the suitcase, and he takes Beanstalk's clothing and he puts it on. He's dressing like a man, and he puts on Beanstalk's glasses as well. We haven't said this, but Beanstalk has like very thick Coke bottle glasses. And when Josephine, Joe, and Sugar were in the bathroom with the ice, Sugar had made a comment of how she likes men who wear glasses because she thinks it makes them sensitive.
Yes. And helpless.
They're special eyes. He puts on Beanstalk's clothes and he puts on his glasses and he finds a captain's hat and he wears them. Cut to the beach.
They're all playing on the beach. They're in the ocean, and they all come out, and Sugar notices that Jerry has, like, broad shoulders and big arms and a flat chest. And she's like, oh, you're so lucky. Clothes hang better on you.
They also sing, there's not a lot of songs in this, but there is the song By the Sea as the girls all frolic in the ocean.
Again, shouting on pitch.
We see Joe, now dressed like a man, like, comes up to them on the beach. The girls get out of the water and they start to play a beach ball game. Sugar misses the ball, chases after it, and Joe is hiding behind a newspaper on a beach chair, fully just sticks his leg out and trips her. It was so sudden, and it wasn't, like, campy at all. It was just she runs, and then it's like, leg, trip. Very violent.
So he's sort of laying it on thick, like, oh, I hope you're okay, because every time someone figures out who I am, they want to sue me for millions of dollars.
He also has, oh man, what an accent.
Oh, I don't understand this accent. What is it?
It's a bad British accent.
But it's not even British. It's like a bad British combined with Connecticut. It's very bizarre.
I think it's British, but I just think Joe is bad at doing a British accent.
Bad at it? Very possible.
It's very all over the place. It's very in and out. I don't think this actor is bad at a British accent. I think the character is bad. He alludes to being a millionaire. He won't tell her his name. He plays very hard to get. He alludes to having a yacht because there's a bunch of yachts moored just off the beach.
And he also says, I loved this, his passion is collecting seashells, which is why his company named the oil company after
alluding
it.
to be the Shell Oil Heir.
Yeah, wild.
Sugar's like, oh, which yacht is yours? The big one? And he goes, oh, certainly not. With all the unrest in the world, I don't think anyone should have a yacht that sleeps more than 12.
And now Sugar is, like, really thirsty, and she's like, oh, who is gonna raise the flag to tell you to come home? Your wife? And he's like, no, my flag steward. And it's like, well, who's gonna make your drink when you get back? Your wife? And he's like, no, my drink steward.
Sugar also lays it on thick. She lies, and she's like, oh, all the girls and I, like, we all went to college, we're society girls, and we just do this band thing for fun. I think he asks, like, what music do you play? And she goes, oh, we play real hot jazz. And he goes,
yes, title drop.
He goes, some like it hot. I prefer classical music. And she's like, oh, we play that too.
So she invites him to come and hear her play, and he says that he can't.
Because he can only come in when the tide is in.
Wild. Oh my god. That's definitely how dinghies work. So then Jerry comes up and says that everyone's going to change for dinner.
He recognizes Joe. And Sugar's like, I recognized him too. His picture was in Vanity Fair.
So dumb. Oh my god. They have like this sort of undercover fight, and it's like, oh yeah, she went to Bryn Mawr. And he's like, I knew someone who went to Bryn Mawr. They snitched on their roommate and then got strangled to death.
But Jerry Daphne gets Sugar away, and after being like, there was something weird about that guy, then she's like, we should run to tell Josephine about this handsome man. And Sugar's like, we can walk. And Jerry's like, no, we're gonna run.
Sugar's like, no, we can't.
Because he thinks he's gonna catch Joe not being there. They're gonna catch Joe not dressed like Josephine.
Coming back in sailor outfit. They get to the room, and they're just waiting, and he's like, oh no, don't leave. I'm sure that, Joe will be here. I'm sure he's been shopping and we'll have a totally different outfit. And then we hear singing from the bathroom.
It's the Running Wild reprise. And Josephine is there taking a bath, just like she said she would.
Filled with bubbles. No, but like filled with bubbles.
Sugar leaves. Jerry Daphne yells at Josephine of like, what, how did you get back here? I can't believe you did that. Joe gets out of the bathtub and is fully clothed.
Fully clothed.
He got into the bathtub fully clothed in his captain's outfit. It is the funniest
So he's just
reveal.
soaked and covered with bubbles.
Yeah, he gets out of the tub and he threatens Jerry, and Jerry is only saved by the telephone ringing.
Yes, and surprise, surprise, it's Osgood from the elevator. Joe is the one who answers the phone, and so he says, oh no, Daphne can't come to the phone right now, and so Osgood tells her, oh, invite her for dinner on my yacht. I'm going to give her pheasant and champagne. I've given the crew the night off. It's a full moon. Zowie. And so Joe accepts on Daphne's behalf.
Because Joe has a plan. We didn't say this before, but Joe's millionaire persona is he's named himself Junior. And he says, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take Sugar alone to Osgood's yacht, and you, Jerry, as Daphne, will have dinner with Osgood ashore.
Why on earth Jerry agrees to this, I do not know.
I don't
But,
know
I mean,
either.
It turns out great, but, you know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We get to, the band is performing that night. The song is I Wanna Be Loved by You, sung by Sugar. There is a harp now in this band. There was not a harp before.
I didn't notice, of course you noticed.
I noticed because I've played the harp for 13 years, and I was like, there is no way you had a harp on that train. I would have seen it. So mad.
While the song is happening, Osgood is there, and he sent Daphne a big whole thing of flowers, and so that's delivered in the middle of the song.
Osgood is just, like, waving at her and, like, making eyes at her. Joe / Josephine takes the bouquet from Jerry Daphne and puts his own card in the bouquet to make it seem like it's from Junior, his millionaire persona, to Sugar, so that when Sugar comes and sits with them to like pick up her ukulele because she's done singing, he's like, these came for you. The note says it's asking Sugar to meet Junior on the pier that night after the performance to take her to his yacht.
Yes, so Marilyn's very excited, and she goes and runs out to, like, drop her stuff off in her room, freshen up a little bit, and then go. And Joe runs after her to go and change as well. Now it's a race to the dock.
So funny.
Marilyn runs very fast in heels to the point where she almost outstrips a bicycle. It's also crazy.
It's supposed to be around 1 a.m. It is so clearly shot during the day, and they've added like nighttime lighting,
a filter.
But you can see in the background, I'm like, the moon is not that bright. It is broad daylight. No. But as Joe puts on his Junior persona, shimmies down the exterior of the building, grabs a bicycle and bikes to the pier, and he passes Jerry as Daphne talking to Osgood and saying like, oh, I can't go to the yacht tonight or I'll get seasick, convincing him that like, let's go dancing instead, to make this whole thing of Joe taking Sugar to the boat possible.
Yes, so Joe gets there right after Sugar does, but he like goes down the side of it so that he can like shimmy underneath and get into the smaller boat.
It looks rich. It looks expensive.
It does look very expensive. So Joe gets into the dinghy and is like, ahoy, I'm here. And then Sugar comes down, but he can't figure out how to turn the boat on, so he kind of hotwires it.
Drive a boat.
How to boat? How does one boat? And then he can't figure out how to make it go forward, so he's just like, it's a new model. Do you mind if we drive backwards?
And she's like, sure. Because he says something about like, oh, it's not how fast you get there. It's like,
who you're waiting for or something.
So she throws the line back to him.
And she's just like so pleased. Also, this dress that she is wearing.
Tits out.
Oh my god. Tits out. It's like, so it's like a mesh top and like sequins starting from like the nipples down. It's wild.
You know that Sparkle Swarovski dress Rihanna wore maybe like 5 years ago? We'll put it in the show notes.
I think so, yes.
It's kind of similar to that, but there's no structure around the bust, so tits are running free. How she ran and was comfortable,
unclear. But she also has this phenomenal fur throw.
I made the note of like a full fur in Miami. Are you crazy?
In Miami?
Insane. Just the humidity. But they get to Osgood's boat. Joe doesn't know shit about boats.
Struggling.
He doesn't know stern from aft, port from starboard. Because she keeps asking him. She's like, which one's port, which one's starboard? He's like, depends on the day.
He's like, it depends on which way you're going. I'm like, okay, all right. Oh. He's like, sometimes the aft is port and staff is backwards. And I'm just like, okay, let's all just go drink a little bit, shall we?
He's like, would you like some champagne? She's like, yes. He goes, where would we have it? He was like, let me see where the staff set it up. He doesn't.
Yeah, so he opens a bunch of doors. Some of them's a closet, one of them's like a staircase down, and so eventually they find it in one of the
He's like,
rooms.
of course, on Thursdays my staff give me champagne in my small salon, just like making shit up as he goes. They get inside the room.
Crazy.
She is very impressed by like how luxurious the interior is, and she points out all these trophies that he has, all this silverware that she calls it, but it's a bunch of trophies. And he's like, oh, you know, I got those for skeet shooting, dog breeding, water polo. She goes, water polo? Isn't that terribly dangerous? He goes, I'll say, I had 2 ponies drowned under me.
It was so funny. What a great
These
joke.
These two are both idiots and they deserve each other.
Man, they just deserve every moment they have with each other. It's so funny.
That got me. That was the moment I laughed out loud.
So this entire scene is basically him, like, trying to convince her to seduce him. So the game that he's playing is that he can't be the one to seduce her, so he makes up this insane story about how women leave him cold.
Because he had his heart broken once, and now he's just damaged goods.
No, but heartbroken is not quite correct, because he says that he's at the Grand Canyon and they have an urge to kiss, and he closes his eyes and she closes her eyes, and he takes a step and she takes a step off the cliff.
He's telling the story about, like, the one time he was in love.
Yes.
But he says his persona, Junior, wears glasses, and he's like, she also wore glasses. So I took off my glasses, and she took off her glasses. I took a step. She took a step. She fell into the Grand Canyon. And so he'll never love again.
So he can never love again. And Marilyn, who's just like, look at all this rich stuff. Maybe I can help. So he names all of these doctors that he went to go see. He went and saw Freud and the Mayo brothers from the Mayo Clinic. And so she's just like, well, I'm not a doctor, but maybe I can take a crack at it. And so she kisses him, and it's like classic 50s kissing, which is just mashing of mouths. There is no lip movement. It's just like smack.
She kisses him. He's like, no, I can't feel anything. She kisses him again to try. Again, nothing. She's like, maybe we'll dim the lights. She turns on the radio. She gets more champagne.
Has him drink both glasses.
Kisses again. Big ol' music swoon. Cut to Osgood and Daphne dancing, neither having fun because Daphne keeps leading.
It's such a, like, a stoic tango. They keep switching back and forth between their evenings, and it was such a great gimmick.
They keep cutting back to the boat. Sugar is practically smothering Joe Jr. with kisses. Just like, maybe they're not like, there's not a lot of like tongue action, but she has like fistfuls of his hair.
Oh, on top of him. He says that she's on the right track. She's like, I must be. Your glasses are beginning to steam up. So they switch back to the other guy, and then the tango's getting a little bit better, and they have like this flower in the mouth gimmick where it's like, you know, they're going one way and you see Daphne's face and she's a flower in the mouth, and then they go the other way and somehow it switches to Osgood's mouth. It's so funny. So they just make out a lot. I don't think they actually
curing his
like,
illness. He's like, oh, I can feel my toes. Like, there's warmth in my toes. Cut back to dancing. Everyone has gone home, but Osgood and Daphne, they're still dancing. They're having fun. He might be drunk. It cuts to the band. I thought they were alone, just like dancing to their own music, but no, the band is still there, but the band is blindfolded.
They're blindfolded. I don't understand.
Explained.
They were not blindfolded before. It's never explained. It's so confusing.
Oh my god. But so the implication is that like they danced all night. Junior and Sugar just like made out all night. It's the next morning. They're off the boat. Junior is walking Sugar back up to the hotel. Osgood passes them and gets into his dinghy, very drunk, to go back to his yacht. None the wiser that they were just making out in his yacht and heavy petting for the last however many hours.
Exactly. And it's like perfect timing. Like one gets in and then the other goes out. And so Joe walks Sugar back to the hotel and they kiss each other more. He waits until she goes in and then he immediately climbs the exterior of the building.
Scales the building like Spider-Man.
Yep. We go into the room and Jerry apparently had a great time. He's laying on his bed in his dress, like playing with maracas.
And surprise tells Joe that I'm engaged to Osgood.
Daphne got a proposal, so she's gonna get married. And the whole plan is, Joe is like, you can't do that. There's a problem. Have you not, like, you're a guy. And Jerry's just like, it's fine. I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna tell him I'm a boy. We're gonna get the marriage annulled. And then I'm gonna get alimony. And I'm like, this is actually a brilliant plan.
But Joe does talk him out of it.
Yeah, so he reverses the phrase. He's like, remember, say to yourself, I'm a boy. I'm a boy. I'm a boy.
Just then, Sugar knocks on the door.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry, there's one line that I have to say that was so funny. It's like, because Joe asked Jerry, why would a boy want to marry a boy? And the response is security.
But Sugar knocks on the door. Joe is still dressed like Junior, so he jumps into bed fully clothed and pulls the sheets up to around his neck.
Yes.
Sugar comes in. Joe tells Sugar that Daphne got a proposal. Sugar goes, oh, poor Josephine. Daphne has a boat. I have a boat. We need to find someone with a boat for you.
Boom! The bellhop just slides into the room in his full communion suit.
Cut to the lobby. Ominous shadows on the lobby floor. Then we see Spats' shoes, followed by Spats himself and his goons. They're in Miami in linen suits. They're here for a quote-unquote Friends of Italian Opera convention, which is definitely just like a gangster convention.
A big old gangster conference.
And the police chief from Chicago is also there.
Yes, but they have...
Wait, this is the other reference I have to Grease, because the guy that, like, checks them in before they can go into the back and meet, like, the head Miami gangster just looks like a Greaser extra. Like, if you had thrown him in the back of Grease Lightning, like, I fully would have believed he was there.
I buy that. The thing that
Or West Side
character
Story.
reminded me of was actually from Singin' in the Rain. In one of the extraneous dance numbers that don't need to happen, there's like a gangster guy, and he also is just like tossing a coin up and down for no reason. I know. It's like a thing that apparently gangsters did in the 20s. They tossed coins up and down for effect.
This Greaser extra tells Spats that not so fast he has to report to the general. The general is the Miami gangster whose name is Little Bonaparte.
I didn't know that was his name. I just called him the head gangster.
Fun fact, he's definitely modeled after Mussolini.
Oh my god.
But Spats and his crew meet with Little Bonaparte. They come out, and the Chicago cop comes, says hello, says he knows that Spats did the murder in the garage on Valentine's Day, and also knows about the two witnesses, Joe and Jerry, that Spats' lawyers have been looking for.
Yeah, huh? And the cop is like, don't worry, we're gonna dig him up. And Spats is like, you'll have to dig
I will
them up.
murder
I'm
them.
like, wow.
Josephine and Daphne come down to the lobby, and Daphne pulls out her compact mirror and through the reflection sees Spats and company in the lobby.
Right. Well, they come down because Joe has convinced Jerry that he has to break up with Osgood because he's a guy and there's conventions.
They see Spats and co. and they panic, naturally, and they go back into the elevator,
Obviously.
but unfortunately Spats and co. also have to take the elevator, and they catch it and they get in with the two women.
Yes. Now, the goons think that they recognize them, but they kind of flirt, too.
They're like, ain't I had the pleasure of meeting you two broads before?
Have you ever been to Chicago? It's like, no, we wouldn't be caught dead in Chicago.
Spats doesn't say anything, but he kind of looks at him.
Sideways, see?
Josephine and Daphne go back to their room and they're like, we're getting out of Miami. They furiously pack.
Gotta pack.
Joe says, oh, but we can't leave without saying goodbye to Sugar. So
And Osgood had given Jerry
a diamond bracelet
for their engagement with...
with like diamonds and gold.
Yes.
Joe says he can't leave without saying goodbye to Sugar, so he calls pretending to be Junior, and he tells Sugar, I'm sorry, doll, I have to leave. I have to go to South America for a oil business merger, and that involves...
This is how finance happens.
That includes like getting married to the other company's founder's daughter. And Sugar goes, oh,
Yes.
that kind of merger. But he says he got her a goodbye present. So while Daphne is in the bathroom, he takes the diamond bracelet and a box of orchids that Osgood had also given Daphne. And he puts them together, and he opens the door, and he kicks it across the hall. And he's like, well, didn't you get the gift I got you? And so Sugar goes and gets the going away present.
Yes. They're packing up, Joe hangs up, and Sugar comes in with the bracelet on, crying and looking for liquor.
Specifically the bourbon, which is still in a hot water bottle.
So silly.
And Jerry Daphne sees that Sugar has the Osgood bracelet. She's like, how did that get there? Sugar says, oh, she'll never forget Junior, because there's a Shell station on every corner. How could I forget him? But she leaves. Daphne and Josephine climb out the window with their luggage because they're like, we can't go out into the hallway or the lobby like
Because we might run into Spats. But of course, because this is how movies work, they climb out down to the next balcony level, and surprise, it's actually Spats' room. So Spats and the goons are in this room talking about killing the big head mobster
Little
guy
Bonaparte.
so that they can be in charge of everything.
because one crony tells Spats that Little Bonaparte is real sore about what happened to Toothpick Charlie in Chicago. And Spats says Bonaparte's gotten
Right.
soft and needs to be retired. Meanwhile, Josephine and Daphne are fully in view climbing down the building.
One of the goons sees them. It's like, hey, it's those broads from the elevator. And Daphne and Jerry like continue going down the building, but they leave the base because it's too big. And so they're like, maybe they ain't broads. And so they open it up and they see that Jerry's base has bullet holes in it from whenever they were shot in the garage.
Spats tells his goons, like, those dames ain't dames. Same faces, same instruments. So they've realized who they are, and they say they'll finish the job here, and they run out of the room.
Must chase!
We see that Josephine and Daphne, Joe and Jerry didn't actually run away. They just kind of like crouched out of sight. So they climb over the railing and climb into now the empty room that Spats and his cronies were in. And they're like, oh, what do we do?
Yes.
They go out into the hallway and they see the bellhop pushing an old man in a wheelchair.
A blind man in a wheelchair, I'm pretty sure.
They follow them into a room and they fully just like knock them unconscious and take their clothes.
However, because the bellhop is like 12 years old, the pants are very short on Jerry, and the shoes don't fit, so he has to continue wearing his heels.
Joe is the bellhop. Jerry is, I think, the old blind man. But so they try to go through the lobby.
Reverse that.
Okay. Never, my notes are wrong. But
Doesn't matter.
Spats and Co. see them, specifically Jerry in heels, and give chase. Jerry and Joe run through the kitchen and past the waitstaff frosting an enormous cake that says, "Happy birthday, Spats." It looks like the kind of cake that someone could jump out of, like it's those big cakes.
Spoiler alert.
It's not
Anna.
a spoiler. Joe and Jerry run. This is the hill I die on.
Okay.
They run into the dining room that's set up for the Italian opera convention, and they're like, yeah, where do we go?
And then the doors start to open, and they're like, oh man, we don't have time to leave the room. We gotta go under the table.
And of course, Spats and his cronies come into the room as well, and they sit immediately where Joe and Jerry are hiding under the table. They don't know they're there.
Obviously, that was the only option.
Now Joe and Jerry are stuck, and the dinner starts with little Bonaparte, who looks like an Italian Count Dracula.
And he's like listening to something? He does look like that.
He's wearing a Walkman, but only in one ear. It's never explained. I think it's supposed to be a hearing aid.
Maybe, yeah.
It's never explained.
Probably, actually, that makes sense.
And he asks for a minute of silence in honor of the 7 members of the Chicago chapter, which is Toothpick Charlie and co., who couldn't be there. Everyone stands but Spats, and he kind of calls him out on it and makes him stand.
Yes. And then Little Bonaparte has this whole speech about how he's been thinking about retiring, and he's been thinking about who should be his replacement. And he has this weird, like, back and forth speech. It's like, and I've been thinking about Spats over in Chicago and thinking, he's going too far! But I like that about a guy. And then he does that like 4 different times where he like yells at him, but it's okay because I like that. And so he says that to tell you how I think about you, we got you something for your birthday.
Spats is like, my birthday isn't for 4 months. But before this, really quickly, we cut to the kitchen and we saw the guy who was the greaser extra hiding in the cake with a gun. I was right. Someone is going to jump out of this cake.
Fair enough.
They roll the cake into this dining room and they all sing,
"For he's a jolly good fellow."
And surprise, that guy jumps out of the cake and guns Spats' crew down. There's so much murder in this movie.
Oh my god, there was so much.
I wasn't ready for it.
Murders them dead, but not quite, because he murders them the first time and Spats doesn't die, and he says something quippy, which I can't remember, and then...
I can't remember either.
And then he murders him again and shoots at him, but all we see is like the flashes, and then like the actor who plays Spats like, ugh, and then falls over. Like, it's really dumb.
Jerry and Joe are still under the table, but decide now is the right time to escape.
You know when's the perfect time to escape? After 7 gangsters have just been shot by other gangsters.
They like pop out and they're like, that was a bad idea. And they run out and little Bonaparte yells at the grease extra to go get them. They exit.
Then the cops come in.
Just as the police enter the dining room.
And the cop is just like, what happened here? And it's like, oh, something in the cake disagreed with them.
No, the lead bullets.
And then there's a lot of like recipe and like cooking sort of like jabs and witty commentary back and forth for a little bit until the cop is just like, I'm going to make this a federal case. So like, you're in trouble.
Joe and Jerry run through the lobby, up the stairs, and they disappear around the corner with the goons chasing them. But then we watch the elevator dial go down a floor, and surprise, Joe and Jerry are now fully Josephine and Daphne.
Quick change. Yes, though they just threw on big coats and wigs and makeup in about 3 seconds.
They don't have makeup on because later Joe is very clearly not wearing lipstick. So they walk out because they're dressed as ladies now and the goons lose them. But one randomly Irish goon says, "Don't worry, we're watching the railroad stations, the roads, and the airports that can't escape." And Joe's like, "But they're not watching yachts."
The ocean.
The ultimate getaway tool.
The ultimate getaway tool, the ocean. Joe has Jerry call Osgood to elope so that they can sail away on his yacht. Now, while that call is happening, Joe hears Marilyn singing "I'm Through with Love."
She's so sad. The band is performing.
It's another boobs out dress.
But it's a sad boobs out dress.
Apparently, she had to be sewn into that dress.
And this is a moment where Josephine walks down the stairs and watches Sugar sing this, and that's the moment where I was like, oh, Josephine didn't put on any makeup. It's very clearly Joe in a wig. Josephine goes to her and watches her finish the song. She's so sad. She goes up and she kisses her in front of everyone. Shock and awe!
But, kisses her in front of everyone while the music is still playing, and none of the musicians stop. There's one girl who's playing, a trumpet in the back, whose eyebrows go up a little bit, but, just keeps playing, and I respect her professionality.
And Sugar's, kind of aghast.
Josephine!
The goons come in, they go, "Hey, that's no dame!" And they chase Josephine up the stairs.
Man, and he books it up those stairs in them heels. I was very impressed.
Alone again, Sugar realizes Josephine was Joe, aka Junior, the whole time.
The whole time. So Joe goes up and grabs Jerry and is like, "We gotta go now." Jerry's like, "He's meeting us at the pier," and they're like, "We're not at the pier yet."
The goons are after them.
They split up, and the goons split up, and then the goons come back, and they're, "Where are Joe and Jerry?" And then Spats gets rolled out underneath a blanket, and surprise, they're under the blanket.
Hiding underneath Spats' dead body. And this is how they get away. Osgood is waiting on the pier in his dinghy. Josephine and Daphne, Joe and Jerry run down the pier. They get into Osgood's boat. Surprise, Sugar is chasing them and hops into the boat as well. And they all get away.
So that's basically the end, but there's a little bit of conversation at the end, which is just so great, where Sugar's there and she's just like, "Oh, I just love you so much, and I don't really care." And he's like, "No, you need someone else, someone better for you that's not gonna, leave you high and dry." And she's like, "I'm just so dumb, it's okay." And so then they make out, and that's the end of their story.
And Daphne tells Osgood, he's like, "Well, we can't get married at all." Jerry gives Osgood all these reasons.
I smoke, I can't have kids. So eventually, finally, Jerry is just like, "Fuck it, I just have to tell him." And so he takes off his wig and it says, "I'm a guy."
And Osgood looks at him, looks back at the ocean and goes, "Well, nobody's perfect." Jerry looks confused. End of film.
Phenomenal movie. What a wild ride.
A wild 2-hour ride. To go back to a question you posed me at the beginning, is this a musical?
Yes.
I would posit, this is a movie with singing. This is a musical film, but the songs don't further the plot, so it is not a movie musical.
Yes, and my other consideration would be that none of the songs are sung outside of a time in which songs would normally be sung in real life.
Right. It all happens with a band as a performance. Well, except for the beach song. But again,
Yeah, but that's just sort of like an overhead song. It's like the girls aren't singing it themselves on the beach.
Yeah,
it's just the accompaniment to the movie. So so I would argue that this is a movie with music, sort of like a Walk the Line sort of deal.
Is Walk the Line a musical?
Well, it's about Johnny Cash, so...
You know what I thought you were talking about? Walk the Line? I immediately went to 8 Mile.
Oh, no, because Walk the Line is about Johnny Cash, so it's it has him singing the Johnny Cash songs, but only in times in which
it is a performance.
It is a performance. So, interesting. I fully enjoyed this movie.
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, which is good.
Yeah. Well, it's considered one of the best movies of all time.
It is. It's on a lot of lists of best movies of all time. It was a big ol' hit when it came out, continues to be a big ol' hit today. It's definitely in the Library of Congress as a crucial film to our creative history. This film was made in California, so not Miami. It was shot during the summer and autumn of 1958, and it came out in 1959. And we can't talk about this movie without talking about the Hays Code, which at the time was a set of industry guidelines for self-censorship for content. For motion pictures in the U.S., between 1934 and it went up until 1968. Now, this movie came out in 1959. The code had been weakening since the early 50s due to social tolerance for previously taboo topics, but it was still officially enforced until the mid-60s. And honestly, the success of Some Like It Hot is considered one of the final nails in the coffin for the Hays Code.
That's so wild.
This film was produced without the approval of the Hays Code because of its playing with the ideas of homosexuality and cross-dressing.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, and also I think because they were able to get away with it because Marilyn Monroe was such a big star at the time that it was like, yeah, I may not have your code, but people are still going to come and see Marilyn.
So, Billy Wilder was the producer, director, and co-writer of this film. He was a film director, screenwriter, and producer. He had a 5-decade career in Hollywood. Other notable works include The 7-Year Itch, famously with Marilyn Monroe, as well as Sunset Boulevard. One thing that I think is really cool is Wilder's creative style really focused on storytelling and writing. He avoided quote-unquote exuberant cinematography that was coming to be more popular with the works of Hitchcock and Orson Welles, because he thought those shots called attention to themselves and they would distract the audience from the story. He would rather focus on tight plot and memorable dialogue. He died in 2002 at age 95, and his gravestone epitaph says, "Billy Wilder, I'm a writer, but then again, nobody's perfect."
Oh, that's so great now knowing the final line of this movie.
He co-wrote this with I.A.L. Diamond. He was Wilder's second writing partner. They wrote 12 screenplays over 25 years, including The Apartment, which was a Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine rom-com that won 5 Oscars in 1960, so the next year, including Best Picture and Best Screenplay. A lot of their films that they worked on together featured characters engaged in never-ending but friendly squabbling, like Joe and Jerry. And Diamond's widow claims that these characters are fully based on Billy Wilder and I.A.L. Diamond's relationship.
That's so good.
This is in my trivia, but the line, well, nobody's perfect, was never intended to be in the final film. It was just a placeholder until they thought of something better.
Oh, but it's so perfect.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the script?
Sure. So the plot was based on a screenplay for a 1935 French film called Fanfare of Love, but they couldn't find that script. So they ended up finding a German remake of that French script, and so that's what they used as the original script that they bought the rights to, was the German remake of this French movie. The original story from Fanfares of Love is still 2 musicians in search of work and then with cross-dressing, but they decided to change the time in which this movie was filmed to give them a little bit more desperation. That they didn't just want them to be poor, they wanted them to be sort of actually in fear for their life a little bit, so they threw it in Prohibition times and made it with gangsters and everything to sort of keep them on the run. One of my fun facts is the studio hired a female impersonator to coach the 2 guys on gender illusion for the film. And this female impersonator, Barbette, was a wildly cool person, so highly recommend looking it up.
The cinematographer of this film was Charles Lang, who just had an incredible career. Notable films of his include Farewell to Arms, Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn, and How the West Was Won. He received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Society of Cinematographers in 1991. His career included 114 feature films. He received a total of 18 Oscar nominations, and he is tied with Leon Shamroy for most Academy Awards for cinematography nominations. We will discuss Leon Shamroy later in this podcast because he worked on The King and I and South Pacific. We'll get to them.
Ooh, speaking of people that we'll talk about later, in terms of casting, Tony Curtis was the guy who played Joe. They cast him because he was so handsome. They were whenever he's shown as a oil millionaire, we have to actually be able to believe it because, of course, rich people are always attractive. But for Jerry, originally they wanted Frank Sinatra, but he didn't actually show up to the lunch that they invited him on to offer him the part. So it's they invited Frank Sinatra to a lunch to offer him this role, and he just didn't show up. So they also considered Jerry Lewis for the role of Jerry, but then they saw Jack Lemmon in the comedy Operation Madball, and so they ended up going for him. And this was the first movie that Jack Lemmon and Billy Wilder worked on together, and it was like this beautiful friendship that started because they worked on several films together. For Marilyn's part, Sugar, they originally wanted Mitzi Gaynor, who we will see again because she was in South Pacific. So they originally wanted her, and then Marilyn was like, but I want it. And they were like, sorry, Mitzi, and went with Marilyn. Choosing Marilyn as the actress may not have been the best thing because she took so many shots to get like the basic lines correct. There's the moment whenever we first see her in the bathroom and she is like, it's me, Sugar. It took her 47 takes to get that correct.
She was having a hard time. She was getting divorced during this from Arthur Miller, and she was pregnant, and she was struggling with her own addictions and demons, and
yes,
she had a rough time during this. She had worked with Wilder before on the 7-year itch, and so she really wanted to do this film again, but it was just a hard time for her.
And the director didn't have great things to say about her sort of right after.
Yeah, they didn't invite her to the premiere, I think.
Apparently she called his home and told his wife to give her husband the message to go fuck himself. So
I didn't know that.
So I mentioned before, Barbette was hired to try and teach the two guys how to walk in heels. But after about a week, Jack Lemmon, who played Jerry, decided that he didn't want help because he didn't want to walk like a woman. He wanted to walk like a man trying to walk like a woman, which is so great. And so then they put on their female makeup and costumes, and they ended up walking around the Goldwyn Studios to see if they could pass as women. And they went into ladies' bathrooms to use the mirrors and to powder their nose and everything. And no one complained, so they knew that they were convincingly passing as women, which is very silly.
We talked a little bit about whether we consider this a musical or not. The music, there's two parts to the music in this film. The composer was Adolf Deutsch, who had a long, illustrious musical career for Broadway and Hollywood. He conducted, composed, and arranged music, but he didn't write songs. He did all the background music, all the instrumentals for this. He won several Oscars, including the background music for Oklahoma, and for conducting the music for Seven Brides for Seven Brothers and Annie Get Your Gun. The sung numbers in this film include Running Wild, I Want to Be Loved by You, I'm Through with Love, were all songs that existed outside of the film and were written by different artists. I Want to Be Loved by You is from a musical called Good Boy from 1928, and Running Wild is a pop song from 1922. In terms of dancing, there's not a lot of dancing in this.
No, it's a solid shimmy.
There's Marilyn shimmying in Running Wild. There are the showgirls in Mozzarella's booze parlor. That's really it.
Oh, one thing was the guy who played Joe was asked, why his version of a woman was so much more refined and woman-like than Jerry's version of a woman. And he said that it was because he was so uncomfortable in drag that he ended up being very stiff, which means that he was very clutched together and demure, where Jack Lemmon was completely comfortable and just ran around like a bat out of hell. And so that's what ended up sort of pushing their two characters in these two wildly different directions of how to behave like a woman.
In terms of reception and awards, this film, as we've spoken before, is included in so many lists of overall best films. For the Oscars, it was nominated for 6, but it actually only won for best costume design, black and white, like we discussed in My Fair Lady, because there were 2 best costume designs at the time.
Oh, just one fun thing about the Academy Awards. So Jerry Lewis was, as I said before, originally looked at to play Jerry, but he turned it down, so Jack Lemmon got it. And Jack Lemmon got a nomination for Best Actor. And so Jack Lemmon, every year for 30 years, sent Jerry Lewis a box of chocolates saying, thank you for not taking this. And Jerry Lewis ended up saying it was probably the worst decision of my life.
There have been a couple adaptations of this film since it came out. There was a Broadway musical called Sugar that ran for over 500 performances. But most recently, as of 13 days ago, it was announced that there will be a Broadway production of this Amber Ruffin is co-writing the book with Matthew Lopez, who wrote The Inheritance. Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman will do the music and lyrics. They are most well known for Hairspray, and it's going to be directed by Casey Nicholaw, who did The Prom, Book of Mormon, Mean Girls. Unclear if he's going to be choreographing it as well. He often choreographs and directs, but for right now, it just says directed.
Yeah.
As for reception, this was a big ol' hit. By 1962, it had grossed $14 million in the U.S., which for 1962 is wild. Marilyn Monroe wanted the film to be shot in color. Her contract actually stipulated that all her films were to be in color, but Billy Wilder convinced her to let it be shot in black and white because the costume tests revealed that the makeup that Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon were going to be wearing as Josephine and Daphne gave their faces a green tinge. Like, it just didn't look good in color. So they had to shoot it in black and white. As the musician girls are walking to the train car, you can hear the train announcer say, Florida Limited leaving for track 1, for Washington, Charleston, all aboard, all aboard. This voice is Disney voiceover legend Jack Wagner, who can still be heard today announcing arrivals and departures of Disneyland and Walt Disney World trains.
Oh my god. That's
at
so
Main
cool.
Street USA. I think that's so cool. And then my favorite, this is my favorite fun fact. I think it's so funny.
Tell me.
In the garage, when Spats and his cronies are shooting Charlie and his gang, once they've shot Charlie dead for the second time, Charlie has a toothpick in his mouth, and Spats kicks it out of his mouth. George Raft, who played Spats, was really afraid he was going to miss and kick George Stone, who played Charlie, in the head. And as a result, he missed his target constantly. It took, after 10 takes, he couldn't do it. He had only made Billy Wilder furious, so Wilder came in to show Raft how to do it and fully kicked George Stone in the head.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's my favorite fact. Oh, it's so silly.
That's so funny, and it's 100%. It makes sense that directors are just like, just do it. It's not that hard, and then they come in to do it, and then they're just like, oh, it's actually
immediately
kinda hard.
does what you didn't want to do.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
All in all, I loved this movie. It's not, I wouldn't call it a movie musical, but I would call it a movie with music.
I think the thing that I was nervous about and I was pleasantly surprised by, I was worried about a movie that featured men dressing as women from the 1950s, that it was going to be insensitive and offensive. And I think the thing that made the biggest deal for me was that, for the most part, Joe and Jerry, when they were dressing like Josephine and Daphne, weren't actively making fun of women as they did it.
No, I mean, all of their lines were just like, I don't know how they do this. Like, this is so hard. This guy keeps flirting with me.
It wasn't a gag for them.
It didn't feel disrespectful.
Yeah. It wasn't look how silly I can be. It was, they were doing it for life and death. They were doing it to evade murder. But
murder.
No, I was worried about that. And I was pleasantly surprised. It didn't get away scot-free for me, but it
No, there were a few moments, but in general, I think this movie kind of holds up.
Mm-hmm. I know Marilyn had a hard time filming this, but I thought she was fantastic.
Oh, she was so funny.
It's a funny film. It's a really funny film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good time watching it, which is really, with any sort of, comedy or, musical, you just want to have a good time.
We have a segment in our, this is our dramaturgy report at the second half of our podcast, and normally there's a spot where, was there anything that was a problem for you? Do you have any gripes? I have no gripes about this film, other than that it took me a really long time to make my notes about it because it's such a dialogue-heavy film. And it's not a musical, so I didn't have songs to take up time.
3 minutes. Yeah. It was just a lot of talking, really fast
good dialogue.
talking with some really fun and witty banter. Yeah.
That is my only gripe.
So yeah.
It was funny in a lot of words.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah. Is there anything that you want to, if my recommendation for everyone would be to look up Babette, who's the gentleman male dancer who taught them how to walk in heels. Just a really interesting life story that like was a little bit off of the reservation, so I didn't want to go into it here. But just, yeah.
I do have a note of just, I mean, this film opens with an old-timey car chase, and this is the second old-timey car chase movie I've watched. This week I watched I'm Your Woman, which also had like a good... Yeah, I feel like you don't see a lot of car chases in movies with vintage cars. It's a lot of like fast, new, shiny, modern future cars and not
modern cars, yeah.
And not older cars. But maybe I'm not watching the right movies. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Fantastic. All right.
Yeah. We are 5678, a movie musical podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We are available for streaming pretty much all places podcasts are available. And we're so happy you gave us a listen.
Yes. Give us 5 stars or shoot us a note if you have any questions, comments, concerns.
Yeah, we're not historians. We're probably going to get some facts wrong. So if we do, we're not afraid of that. Tell us what we did wrong.
Our email is 5678 a movie musical podcast @gmail.com.
Or tell us what we did right.
Most places you can find us just by Googling our name, which is very long and specific.
But it's nice. If you type 5678, you can literally put your finger on the 5 button and just slide your finger across and it will work. That's what I do when I type in our email address. I just doink and then slide.
That's so funny. I do it like I'm playing a piano, like
yeah, that works too. Yours is probably better for your computer.
Yeah. Excellent. Well,
this was fun. Thank you so much.
This was great. I had a great time.
And we did it. We are on opposite sides of the globe, and we were able to record this. All right.
It's okay. I had to kick my parents out of the house.
You can let them back in now. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'll go and text them. All right, goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.